President William Ruto defends Meg Whitman after Raila's scolding over the US ambassador's fair election remarks. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua officially closes down the 8th Devolution Conference in Eldoret. Registrar of Societies revokes registration of 5 churches, among them Pastor Ezekiel's and Paul Mackenzie's. And Kakamega Homeboys set to play against Libyan Al Hilal in first leg match of CAF Confederation Cup.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin.
All right, our sign language interpreter tonight is Evans Othiambo. Join us for the next 1 hour as we give you information on what's happening in the country and beyond. And be sure to give us your feedback on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya, on Facebook KUTV Kenya, on YouTube KUTV Kenya, where we are also found as we stream this particular live broadcast. Welcome. Now, President William Ruto has defended US Ambassador Meg Whitman after Raila's scolding over the ambassador's fair election remarks, validating Whitman's assertions that indeed last year general elections were credible and faulting the opposition for crediting anything to unruly demonstrations. Ruto spoke at the KCB to Jiajiri graduation event after a morning brief with Ambassador Whitman and an American delegation at State House.
In what took the sound of a backlash to Raila's outrage on US Ambassador Meg Whitman, President William Ruto has vehemently defended Whitman over her assertion that last year's general elections were free and fair, faulting the opposition for crediting unruly protests to any democratic success.
I was just imagining between the people who are orchestrating destruction of property and sabotaging our economy, and those who are working with us to create investment opportunities and investment capital for the people of Kenya. Between those two, I was wondering who is actually rogue. The American ambassador said 2 statements of facts. She said the last election was the freest and the fairest in the history of Kenya, which is a statement of fact. She said Kenya is open for business, which is also a statement of fact. I mean, surely, let us have some decorum and respect ourselves as we demand respect from others.
Ruto reserved high regards for the United States government, opining that Kenya cannot afford to attack its sworn allies like the United States, as they have played a monumental role in the economic prosperity of Kenya.
Demonstrations that are violent, that destroy property, that destroy people's hustles, that destroy opportunity, that sabotages our economy. I mean, we would be a very reckless people if we were to glorify such. On the other hand, we would be very ungrateful for us to vilify the people who are creating opportunities for us.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua hit where it hurts most, saying the ambassador and other dignitaries were all present at Bomas and that Azimio is still stuck in denial.
He is being attacked and vilified by saying what everybody knows. I want to request leaders to accept the truth and the reality and move on. Life is not static. Life is dynamic. Today you are up, tomorrow you are down, and so on.
Whitman's assertions have spurred a frenzy within the Azimio La Umoja political divide, debating that such sentiments should not be tolerated amidst pending talks with Kenya Kwanza.
These are very sensitive issues. That is why on the Kenya Kwanza list, IEBC and elections is on the list. On the Azimio list, IEBC and the electoral justice issues are on our agenda. So let her allow us to dialogue as Kenyans, to resolve our issues as Kenyans. Let her not be a cheerleader for UDA and William Ruto. She must remain neutral.
Sasa mzungu Muamerika, huyo mwanadada, anakuja kusema ati hii mambo ya kuongea haina maana, uchaguzi ulikuwa wa haki, na hata hiyo budget ambayo ilitangazwa ya kumfinya mwananchi, ati wa Amerika wanasema hiyo budget wako na imani nayo. Kwani watu wameruka kichwa?
Friday morning, President William Ruto met an American delegation led by Ambassador Meg Whitman at State House, Nairobi. Within the delegation, a striking appearance was made by Delaware Senator Chris Coons, a prominent senator in Kenyan history, for brokering peace between political leaders. Chris, who masterminded the 2013 handshake between Uhuru and Raila, met Ruto days after holding a similar meeting with Raila Odinga, which begs the question, what really is cooking in Coons' kitchen? Muneneweru, KU TV.
Now, as the curtains close for the 8th Devolution Conference in Uasin Gishu County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua praised the achievement and progress made in devolved governments in Kenya. In his address, the Deputy President urged county governments to continue collaborating with the national government and assist in registering more farmers who will benefit from the second phase of fertilizer distribution.
In his address during the closing ceremony of the 8th Devolution Conference in Uasin Gishu County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has lauded strides made towards fully implementing devolution. Rigathi noted that more than 4.5 million Kenyans faced starvation during the recent drought. Collective efforts by the national and county government ensured that no Kenyan died of hunger.
Continuous engagement, agreeing to be advised, having a very competent economic council has done the unthinkable. In 1 year, the economy has shown signs of recovery to the extent that for the first time in 7 years, all county governments were given their money before the closure of the financial year on June 30th.
The second in command also noted that such partnerships have been crucial in the war against illicit brews and drug abuse, noting that the forums have been beneficial. He further urged counties to work with the national government to register more farmers who will benefit from the second phase of the subsidized fertilizers for farmers.
All members of parliament and the respective constituency development funds in the 290 constituencies were given all the allocation before the closure of the financial year on June 30th.
In her address during the closing ceremony, Governor Anne Waiguru, the chairperson of the Council of Governors, notes that it is important for all Kenyans to understand the new governance framework in Kenya.
The reflections we have had in the last 3 days took a holistic assessment of the performance of county governments in the last 10 years, bearing in mind that counties are key drivers for development and realization of the promise of devolution.
And as the devolution conference comes to an end, some of the resolutions reached include formulating strategies to avoid multiplicity of efforts at both levels of government, among development partners and the private sectors, among others. Yvonne Kemuma, KU TV.
President William Ruto today presided over the Tujiajiri graduation, a program by the Kenya Commercial Bank. While speaking at the Moi International Sports Center in Kasarani, Nairobi County, the head of state pledged to build more technical and vocational education and training TVET institutes, provide internship opportunities, and as well expand the export market.
Program founded by the Kenya Commercial Bank of Kenya, which aims at formalizing the informal sector through vocational training. While pledging government support for micro and medium-sized enterprises, the president commended the progress of the technical and vocational education programs, saying,
When I see this multitude of young people who are graduates of our TVET institution, it confirms to me that a few years ago we made the right decision.
To empower a ton of other young people in the country, the head of state, who also once served as a minister of higher education, has pledged to build more TVET institutions and provide more internship opportunities.
This year, we are building another 15 technical training colleges in Kenya. We are providing incentives. We want those companies that are willing to take on board graduates like yourself for 1 year or 6 months or 2 years. We are going to make sure that we give them incentives. We are going to tell them if they pay 25,000, the government of Kenya will refund them 12,000.
President Ruto, who has been adamant about importing goods which can be manufactured in the country, has encouraged young people to take advantage of the government's efforts in expanding the export market.
Mambo ya kwenda kuagiza kitanda haitafanyika tena, kwa sababu hii kitanda inahitaji mbao, randa, musumeno, nyundo na msumari. Story finish. Na jamaa ameketi hapa hako na hiyo skill ya kufanya hiyo kazi.
In support of the housing program expected to absorb young people with expertise, Cabinet Secretary for Education Ezekiel Machogu has assured higher education students on the success of the current funding model, which will ensure no student lacks the opportunity to access education.
We want to give assurance that for the 6-9 months that these young people have been in our technical TVET institutions, they have actually acquired the necessary required skills and competencies, and they are now ready to go and serve the country in the various sectors of the economy.
President Ruto, who has been championing for the human capital, has also pledged to continue investing in young people who are the hope of the country's future. Lynette Maina, KUTV.
The new Life Prayer Center led by Pastor Ezekiel Odero has been deregistered by the Registrar of Societies in a Gazette notice to register that particular churches. 4 other churches in a move to clean up religious institutions, and the churches include the Helicopter of Christ Church, the Theophilus Church, the King's Outreach Church, and the Good News International Ministries, which is led by controversial Pastor Paul Mackenzie. Initially, the registration of the Good News International Church and the Helicopter of Christ Church had been annulled on May 19, 2023. In a quick rejoinder, Pastor Ezekiel Odero has contested this move, deeming it illegal and calling for its reversal. In other news, residents of the recently established Mwea sub-county in Embu County have decried being sidelined in the upcoming Kenya Defence Forces recruitment after the area was omitted in the list of recruitment centers in the county. The residents are now urging the government to provide full autonomy and ensure that the recruitment process is inclusive.
Interested youths from the recently established Mwea sub-county will have to travel for almost 100 kilometers to try their luck of being recruited to KDF after the area was omitted in the list of recruitment centers in the county.
Kati wa recruitment ya KDF tulikuwa tunasema Makema 10, Mwea 10. Sisi hatujui tuko wapi saa hii. Na tulikuwa tumehesabu hii mwaka imeisha, tukasema tutaanjiliwa watoto 120 mwaka huu.
Speaking during a public baraza at Karaba Town presided over by County Commissioner Jack Obuo, a section of residents expressed their disappointment in the government, citing that they expected to have more slots and want the sub-county to be treated fairly.
We are not under any and subject to a junior partner to any other sub-county, we have and we need to be given our autonomous working of this sub-county.
Makema Ward MCA Philip Nzangi has called on the government to move with speed and ensure the area gets the relevant code to enable it to take part in such key activities as well as facilitate service delivery.
This issue of a code for a recruitment center, kindly take it as a matter of priority and urgency. Kwa sababu it was possible for NYS walifanyia hapa. If it is possible, and I know the powers that your office holds, if it is possible, hata KDF tarehe 7 wakifanyia Umau, hiyo ingine ifanyiwe Karaba. Tafadhali tuomba kwa heshima ifanyike.
Embu County Commissioner Jack Obuo has however urged the residents to exercise patience, assuring them that the matter is already being looked into, as well as other issues regarding service delivery and inclusion.
I've been working in government for long. Some of the services you are talking about, zitakuja, but we want to push them.
As the county marks 10 years of devolution, it is the hope of the Mwea sub-county residents that the government will exercise the principle of devolution, pushing for inclusion across the county. Charles Kirubi, KUTV.
18 minutes past the top of the hour. Time for us to take our first short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. We'll be back shortly.
For 3 years since the inception of Kenyatta University Women Economic Empowerment Hub, famously KUW Hub, thousands of women have been empowered economically through research conducted by Kenyatta University scholars.
Sasa unajua wametufunza sasa tujue hata wamama wanaweza simama mahali wanaume wanasimama.
Kwa hiyo biashara yangu ya poshomi, nimejua nikifanya leo, yani you know I'm selling maize na kushaga. So jioni nakuja kufanya hesabu, nitoe expenses, nione income yenye nimepata, ni safe.
KUW Hub partners with different stakeholders in implementing research ideas through decision and policy making at county levels.
As we influence policy ourselves, we use data for policy. Also use this data for fundraising, which they are doing.
Through their leadership and governance project, KUW Hub visited Bomet County for research to reach their one objective of empowering women in leadership.
Nimejaribu juzi kuania kiti cha director Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, and thank God I was elected, being a woman. And again, I've got other leadership positions yenye nimepata.
Do not miss out on this special feature this Sunday on KUTV at 9 p.m.
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosives.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin. Welcome back. Evans Othiambo and I are here to inform you what's happening in the country and beyond even more. Now let's move to Mombasa, where the residents have lauded Kenya Ports Authority, KPA, for streamlining operations at the Likoni Ferry Crossing Channel since the Kenya Ferry Service was merged with KPA. According to a report by KPA Managing Director Captain Ruto, the 24-hour ferry service complements road transport and has allowed easy movement for both pedestrians and motorists.
Residents and Likoni ferry officers have appreciated the smooth operations at the Likoni Ferry Crossing Channel after the Kenya Ferry Service was merged with the Kenya Ports Authority to allow for easy transportation at the Likoni Crossing Channel in Mombasa County. According to a report from the KPA Managing Director Captain William Ruto, the provision of ferry services continues to be a crucial component in moving people and commodities between the Mombasa Islands and the southern mainland, fostering socio-economic growth in the agricultural, tourism, manufacturing and service sectors.
Kitambo ulikuwa unafika ferry unakaa hata 15 minutes to 30, lakini sasa ukifika ferry 5 minutes ushavuka ngambo ya pili. Yani kazi inafanyika vizuri zaidi, alafu pia ukora ambao ulikuwa ukifanyika miaka mingine imepita, sasa sijasikia mtu amekanganywa kibeti, sijasikia mtu amekatwa, na hata ukisahau mkoba wako ukiwa maeneo ya feri unapata na kuwa salama, alafu pia ajali zimepungua.
The Dongokundu bypass under construction is set to connect 3 main transport corridors, the Mombasa-Nairobi Highway, Mombasa-Malindi Highway, and the Mombasa-Lungalunga Highway, while also reducing congestion at the Likoni Ferry Channel.
Kwa hivyo kila ambacho tunaweza kuomba ni kwamba waendelee kuimarisha usafirishaji wa eneo hii, na saa ya Mtongwe waangalie vile wanaweza kusimamisha tena na kivukio cha ile barabara nyingine watengeneze, ndio tuweze kuwa tumepata pesa nyingi kupitia watalii, maana ndio uchumi ambao wetu tunategemea.
Since KPA took over, it has put in place a raft of measures to reduce congestion and seal revenue loopholes. An automated payment system, automatic barrier gates, and well-marked roads are some of the noticeable changes. The Likoni Crossing Channel is used by more than 300,000 passengers and 6,000 vehicles daily, and despite the closure of the Liwatoni floating bridge for routine servicing, the Likoni Channel has allowed seamless movement of pedestrians and motorists. Jama Gikomo for KUTV.
Now, Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi has assured farmers in Uasin Gishu that the government has set aside funds to purchase maize through the National Cereals and Produce Board (NCPB) this season. Elsewhere, in Trans Nzoia County Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eli Dowalo has launched free public Wi-Fi hotspots at Sihendu and Kiminini markets and Kitale Bus Park. Here is Masi Wanjiro with today's County Wrap.
While known at 12 maize fields in Kiplombe Ward, Wasingishu County, the Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi announced that the government has acquired 100 mobile dryers that will assist farmers in drying their grain. Owalo further assured farmers in Wasingishu that the government has set aside funds to purchase maize through the National Cereals Board this season. Elsewhere in Trans Nzoia, residents will now enjoy free public Wi-Fi hotspot after the ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo launched free public Wi-Fi hotspot in Sikendu, Kiminini Market and Kitale Bus Park. According to Owalo, the ICT Ministry is in the process of connecting a total of 25,000 markets with free public Wi-Fi hotspots countrywide. At the same time, national government public officers in Rift Valley region have been asked to effectively utilize national government administrative officers' existing structure to explain and interpret government policies, programs, and projects at the grassroots level. According to the Regional Director of Government Delivery Service, Tati Orlando, it's unfortunate that the amount of information reaching public in rural areas on government programs and policies is minimal because of relevant officers failing to involve the national government officials. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Mining is set to train miners in Voi on safety and handling standards on using explosive. According to the Principal Secretary in the State of Department for Mining, Mr. Elijah Mwangi, the government blasters will train artisan miners on safety standards when using explosive, after which they will receive registration and license as blasters. Masi Wanjiro, KUTV.
Now, the First Lady governors across the 7 counties that still practice FGM converged in Migori County to deliberate, benchmark, and share ideas on how to end the retrogressive vice. Speaking during the FGM awareness campaign education at Nyabohanse Girls School in Mabera Sub-County, Kuria West, the governor's spouses from Taita Taveta, Marsabit, Kajiado, Narok, Nyamira, Migori, and West Pokot counties said that FGM has denied women their rights, messed up their health status, and disrupted their socio-economic agenda. In the event that saw more than 200 Kuria girls educated as anti-FGM ambassadors, the First Lady governors pledged to work with the national and county government to eradicate the harmful practice.
Koreans committee have also agreed in one accord that they are going to work together to ensure that it is eliminated. And the beautiful conclusion that we have come to is that both parents, both the parents and the girl are involved in this.
So for us, it's just farming up and saying that we have good cultures that we can emulate in the 21 hotspots counties, and this has to end. So each of the First Ladies, the takeaway is to work with the elders, both men and women, empower our girls so that in case of anything, they know the right channels to use.
All right, time for us to take another short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. We have much in store for you, including green energy, entrepreneurship. You don't want to miss this particular story. Stay tuned.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Bari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Straight away pour the drink.
Karibu katika awamu yetu ya Funza Nikufunze, na leo nitakuwa na mtaalamu wangu ambaye anaandaa vinywaji.
Lisalika.
Mambo matamu kweli kweli, kijana amewajibika kweli kweli hapa kwenye mitindo ya kipwani.
beginning of wisdom.
The Bible says, when he spoke, then he spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart.
Christ says, I stand in the door and I knock. Whoever hears my voice and opens, I will dwell with him.
Like the moon, I will fade, but like the star, I will rise again. And though I fall, be rest assured that I will rise again.
Go to the hospitals, tell them that God will heal them. Go to the prisons, tell them that they'll be free. Go to the crusades and tell people that Christ is coming, and sooner than the word itself, the second advent is imminent.
Ready to kickstart your day with the most exciting morning show around. Tune in to our dynamic and entertaining program where we keep you informed, engaged, and entertained from the moment you wake up.
From breaking news and current events to music, fun, and out of the ordinary stories, we've got you covered with a mix of interviews, games, and special segments. You never know what's in store.
Join us every Monday morning
and Tuesday morning
for a fun and fascinating way to start your day.
Don't miss out on the action.
Tune in now and experience the excitement for yourself.
Only on KUTV Rise Today from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Start your day
with us.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin.
Welcome back. We now move beyond our borders, where pollution from discarded plastic, metals and other items has been a persistent problem in Nigeria. In a bid to conserve the environment, a section of young people are doing what they can to clean up the trash, make the stride towards sustainable development, as well as make money while doing it.
Rita Adehai began her journey into green innovation in 2018, armed with a passion for waste recycling. Her social enterprise, EcoBarter, buys waste from Nigerian households and converts it into new products like fibers for pillows, shoes, and bags.
I've always said as a child that I want to leave the world better than I met it.
The geology student says she reaches people through collection points where they can drop off their household waste in exchange for money.
That is, we are enabling households and every other person use their waste as a currency. The vision for EcoBarter is to bring sustainability to both people and planet. And when you talk about planet, you talk about sustainability, you talk about circular economy, you talk about the green economy.
In aiding the transition to a so-called green economy, Adehai is also making a small dent in Nigeria's unemployment rate. About 300 people work for EcoBarter, making the minimum wage of $39 a month or more. 23-year-old Hanatu Zakaria, an employee of EcoBarter, says she's happy to be employed.
When I was not working before, things was difficult for me. But when I start working, everything is going normal. And even me, I want to have my own shop that I will be doing myself. I can employ many women.
The job appeals to young Nigerians with a streak of idealism. Speaking at the 2023 International Youth Day, Adesa Okadeji, who works for the Nigeria Youth Sustainable Development Goals program, says her goal is to make life easier for young people.
The outcome for this event is a call to action to meaningfully engage young people towards achieving and advancing the SDGs in Nigeria, which will highlight the barriers and solutions to reducing inequalities and increasing development.
It has not been easy. Adihai says she has had to battle Nigeria's lack of awareness on recycling and the high cost of coordinating enterprises that will transform the trash. Despite the challenges, Adihai is making her mark and believes that with the right support, more young people in Nigeria will have the creativity, potential, and capacity to make a difference. For Gibson Emeka in Abuja, Nigeria, Salim Solomon, VOA News.
Now, with the growing impact of drought and high food prices, food banks are emerging as a growing solution to hunger and poverty in Africa. In Nairobi, a non-profit organization, Food Banking Kenya, is among those that have stepped up to give hope to the hungry by feeding them.
Kenya's Poverty Report 2021, released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, showed that 19 million Kenyans, about 38% of the population, live in poverty. 1 in 3 living in rural areas and 1 in 4 living in urban areas cannot meet their food needs. Metrin Bolonyua of Nairobi is one of those in need. She says she has slept many nights hungry with her 2 children.
Najisukuma tu. Nasema hata iwishi ningepata kazi ningevumilia.
I'm pushing on with this difficult life. I wish I had a job. Food is expensive. 200 shillings isn't enough to buy a packet of maize flour.
Bologna is among more than 50 people who receive dry food and vegetables on this day, enough to last a few days. Due to high food prices and a lack of employment opportunities, millions of Kenyans struggle to feed their families. Food Banking Kenya was established in 2016 and collects food from large and small-scale farmers, exporters, supermarkets and other retailers. The organization's reach has expanded as the need for food increases.
In the year 2022, we were able to give out to our beneficiaries, the very vulnerable people in the society, almost 500,000 kilos of food. To date, as we speak, in this August, we are able to donate out to our beneficiaries or give out what we have to our beneficiaries to a maximum of over 3,000 kilos every day.
The organization has 3 distribution centers in Nairobi. People running homes for the elderly, teenage mothers and children come to this warehouse at least twice a month to collect food to keep the homes running and the vulnerable safe.
There are other ways of getting food, but this food has been very useful to us. Since we knew them, they have been helping us getting food. So they cannot call us and we refuse to come food. And we don't have food right now. The food in Kenya, life in Kenya has become very expensive and getting food is not cheap.
We rely totally on donors, on organizations like Food Banking and other organizations. So without them, we'd really not be able to run the homes.
The hunger situation is expected to persist in the coming months in Kenya and elsewhere. Food Banking Kenya has expressed its commitment to assisting those within its capacity. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nairobi.
Sudan's conflict has caused prices in the border region of neighboring South Sudan to rise sharply, according to local market traders. Now, the production and export of South Sudanese oil through Sudan, which the World Bank says makes up to 90% of the country's revenue, is also being strangled by the conflict.
Johanna Bill is a market trader in the town of Renk, close to South Sudan's border with Sudan. He says that since Sudan's war started in April, goods have been scarce and more expensive in the north of his country.
Indeed, challenges are getting worse, particularly in the northern region. The lack of goods coming from Sudan is hampering our ability to keep up with demand. Occasionally, there are isolated incidences where we can get what we need from them.
South Sudan lacks a functioning road network, and the north of the country is poorly connected to the capital Juba. One expert explains.
The northern state in southern Sudan really relies on supplies that come from North Sudan. And because of the conflict, those supplies have been entirely cut off and abruptly also. This is nothing that was foreseen. Now that economy is decimated, all the supplies that are decimated, people have been displaced, millions and millions of people. So this is just like entirely a serious economic collapse.
Abuk Atem is one of the more than 170,000 people who have fled Sudan to South Sudan, mostly through Renk. She says they are feeling the effects of Renk's collapsing economy too.
Sometimes people stay hungry during the daytime and have one meal in the evening due to a lack of money to buy food.
Putting a further squeeze on the economy, the production and export of oil, which according to the World Bank accounts for 90% of South Sudan's revenue, has also been hit hard by the conflict. Trucks seen here that would normally transport chemicals and other supplies are backed up at the border. Patrick Heinisch is an economist with Helaba, a German commercial bank. Asked if access to the Red Sea, made possible only by passing through Sudan, is important, he replied,
"Yes, definitely. Port Sudan is a very important port supplying the country, but the South Sudanese authorities and the oil ministry, they said that they face difficulties importing chemicals that are used for oil extraction because the ports in Port Sudan, it is no longer functional, or at least it is no longer delivering goods."
Meanwhile, those fleeing Sudan's war continue to stream across the border, putting even more pressure on Renk's collapsing economy. Henry Wilkins for VOA News, Renk, South Sudan.
All right, 18 minutes to the top of the hour. We take our final break here on KUTV Primetime News. When we come back loaded with sports news.
Repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
To the Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Terrell.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. So make sure manzo tune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Art
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
let's dive into the world of sports. And the Kakamega Homeboys are set to play against Libyan team Al Hilal in the first leg match of the Confederation of Africa Football CAF, which is set to be played tomorrow at the Nyayo National Stadium. Kakamega Homeboys will be representing Kenya after winning the 2023 Mozart Bet Cup.
Kakamega Homeboys had their final training session as they prepare to face Libyan side Al Hilal in the first leg match of the CAF Confederation Cup tournament set to be played tomorrow at the Nyayo National Stadium. Homeboys defender Brian Ishihanda has said that they are well prepared and are looking forward to the match.
Tumejikakamua poa, kocha amefanya kazi yake, pia sisi tuko poa. Game ya Al Hilal sisi tumejipanga at least kuimprove kwa ile game ya Gor Mahia. Tuko hapo tutaongezea kufunga zaidi vile tulifanya ile game nyingine, naona tulipata bao moja. Game ya Al Hilal tunaomba Mungu atujalie tupate bao zaidi ya 3.
Homeboys chairman Bernard Shitiabai has appreciated the support from Football Kenya Federation as they prepare to take on Al Hilal, who finished third in the Libyan Football League.
I also wish to appreciate the Federation. They've given us total support that we expected. FKF, please, thank you very much. And also the Libyan team, they've also been cooperative enough. Anasema tafadhali kwa wale mashabiki pale ambapo mupo. Kesho ni siku ya Jumamosi ambayo hakuna Jumamosi nyingine kama hiyo. Baada ya muda mrefu ambao tumekuwa na kiu ya kuweza kupata mpira, leo hii tuje pamoja tuone mpira ya kitaifa. Na Kakamega Homeboys tunawaahidi kwamba hatutawa let down.
I think hii uwanja imekuwa most of the time in our favor na tumepata matokeo hapa so mara moja so mara mbili, so ni uwanja ambao tumeuzoea na tutagive all our best kuhakikisha tunapata matokeo. Bas wa Kenya wakuja tu support sababu sisi team ni Homeboys lakini tuna represent Kenya, so kwa support yao nadhani tutaweza kufikia malengo yetu.
Kakamega Homeboys are participating in the CAF Confederation Cup tournament for the first time in the club's history after beating Tusker 1-0 in the 2023 Mozart Bet Cup finals held on July 1st, 2023. Homeboys, however, lost 4-2 against Gor Mahia on post-match penalties in the Charity Shield match. Tomorrow's match will kick off at 3 p.m. Kenyan time at the Nyayo National Stadium, while the second leg will be played on the 27th of August 2023 in Benghazi, Libya, where the winner will face Rayon Sports of Rwanda. Njama Gikomo, KUTV Sports.
And Vihiga Queens will be looking to complete a perfect group stage run when they take on JKT Queens in their third and final group match of Confederation of Africa Football CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers. Both teams are already through the semis, having won their opening 2 fixtures, and the winner on Saturday will advance as Pool B leaders. The Vihiga-based side interim coach Charles Okere is optimistic that they will overcome their Tanzanian rivals. Minutes to the top of the hour. We have come to the end of our bulletin tonight, but that is not the end of the bulletins and the news coverage that we bring you right here on KTV Primetime News. Tomorrow at 6:30, we will be joining you with Mizizi Weekendi, and at 9 p.m. we shall have Weekend Live, brought to you by our very able newsroom, headed by our big boss Laban Shaban, and to be able to bring you what's happening in the country and beyond our borders. One African proverb, I will try to paraphrase, says, he who does not know where he's going will never know when he arrives. So it's good for you to know where you're going so that you know when you arrive. We've arrived to the end of this particular broadcast for today. but we'll be joining you shortly with other entertainment programs, educative programs right here on KUTV Primetime News, and in KUTV as a station where we get to have a new experience on our programming that is educative, entertaining, and informative in every kind of way. We've come to the end of the road for tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Evans Othiambo. Mine is Motegi K. Martin. Good night.